Hey there, Contractor Cat here with Overseas Contractor Academy, and now it is time for the ugly. This is the week for my ugly experience and probably my worst experience ever as a contractor. Again, I look back and I can kind of laugh about it now. So if this video does come off overly negative, I apologize. I'm gonna try to keep it balanced, but it's more of a, it's so bad that it's funny now. So just take it for that, and like, I'm over it, I'm not scarred from it or anything, but it was a shit experience, quite honestly. And it was an example of like how things can go really bad sometimes. And when it does, you just gotta walk away, all right? So let's roll the bumper and get into it. Okay, so much like last time, this tale does begin off with a coworker that decided from the get-go to kind of undermine me. And, you know, being a military background, like, you got people you get along with better than others, but I had never seen, like, really just trying to actively undermine people before, like in my pre-military days, my military days, or on my first couple of contracts. Like, you might find someone that's an asshole, but like, damn, like when you're really going all out to ruin the reputation of somebody, like, God, what, you know, what went into making you to screw you up that bad? But I had somebody that, I don't know what went into their childhood to turn them out to be this way, but they were an extreme sort of beta male. His name was Bill. And he had a very overbearing mother, and like, this was when I first kind of got there, and we would exchange stories of our backgrounds and stuff. And like, I knew that he had a very overbearing mother and 3 overbearing sisters, and no male role models in his life to speak of. And I don't know what abusive shit they did to that guy in his life, but it really, really screwed him up. And so how this played out as a professional in his 40s is that he played for sympathy all the time. Instead of like standing up and being like, hey, you know, let me figure out a way to contribute, let me get after it, let me try to nail the job, he would kind of play pitiful pearl all the time. And that just is not me. So there was 2 cost analysts assigned there in Kuwait, and I was the new guy, he was a senior, and so he kind of taught me a little bit, but I had been on this program before and I knew quite a lot. I had a lot of historic knowledge and even knew quite a lot of people still within the program, and so he couldn't quite undermine me as well as Marissa did on that, you know, I'm not going to really teach you how to do the job, and then when you screw it up, I'm going to be like, see, he's a screw up. You know, he couldn't get away with that. Like, I knew what the hell I was doing. And I was a lot more confident by then. Like, this was not even like my 3rd, 4th, 5th rodeo. This was way after, right? So I was like super confident, and there were military people in our office, and because of that, like, I got along with almost all the military guys, and I knew all the jokes and stuff. And of course, this guy had never been military, and you know, maybe it would have done him some good if he had been, but he just was the epitome of like the omega male. Like, he just was so weak and pathetic and just sort of skulking around. And, you know, I felt sorry for him at first, and then realized like, oh wow, you know, he's just, you know, he's not that good at the job, and, you know, he's not good at stepping up to the plate. Like, you know, I'm actually way better at this than him, and I'm only like a couple weeks into the job. But as we progressed, I realized again that he was going to not only like the team boss, but much like Marissa, they were going outside the team to the government side and undermining me there. And like, that's a huge effing no-no. Like, that's how the friggin' company loses the contract type shit. So that's just effing stupid. But I think when you are intimidated or confronted by someone that comes on the job and maybe they're a lot better than you and they're outgoing and they're vocal and they like click with the military guys real well and they just seem like they hit the ground running, that's threatening to you in your senior position, I guess. I don't know. So really quickly, Bill decided he didn't like me, and because he was the senior guy, he was trusted more as far as like people go and like, oh, how's Kevin coming along, this and that. And whereas the military guys would be like, oh yeah, I asked Kevin to do this and he knocked it out. And there were people on my own team that were like, dude, I love working with Kevin. But Bill had the ear of the guy in charge, and more importantly, the crazy lady in charge. And Bill was a problem, but because I had my experience in Marissa and I had learned from it, I learned quickly to just kind of isolate him and not give him any fodder, like not really talk to him too much, because God only knows how he's going to twist anything I say. And I picked up early enough from him like what he was about, so I knew like, all right, just don't trust the guy. Just keep your distance, do your job, you know, have a clear separation of duties, that you're responsible for this, he's responsible for that. That way he can't blame shit on you when it's not done. All that kind of stuff. I went through my process, so I kind of limited the damage that he could do. So, but Bill was not even really the main problem there. There was something much worse, unfortunately. And that much worse thing came in the form of the lady in charge. And she was a GS-13, I believe. She was this tiny little Asian Filipino, Korean Filipino mix, right? And she was hell on wheels. Like she, quite honestly, like looking back and analyzing after that, I think she was sociopathic. Like she really had some cogs like wrong up there. And she had come out of Washington, DC, and she was part of some government bureaucracy, some agency that was financial oversight. So probably the Inspector General has a financial arm, so I believe that's the background she came out of. And when you work for IG, people cannot put you in check. You're the one putting other people in check, right? And what that leads to is a lopsided view of reality. Like your perspective gets warped because people can't put you in check, but you're all the time questioning others and putting them on the defensive, right? So this lady, whose name I don't want to say, she had very Korean features and was like tiny, but she had a Spanish last name due to her Filipino heritage. Well, anytime a new person was in the building and they met her, and of course she spoke with a very thick Korean accent, they would say, "Where are you from?" Now, they didn't mean this in a terrible way, but it would just confuse people to see her name when she introduced herself was this very Spanish name, very traditional Spanish name, but then she looked very Asian and tiny and dragon lady. So people would just say, "Where are you from?" And they might have meant in the States, like, you know, what part of the US are you from or whatever, but she would immediately assume the worst and take offense and go straight to the Equal Opportunity Office and file a complaint, just off of the question, "Where are you from?" And after like her third or fourth time of doing this, like people started picking up the crazy, right? And so unfortunately she got there, and I don't know why she even came there, how she ended up there. There was a lot of rumors that she was crazy and they just wanted her shipped off somewhere into some far corner of the world where they didn't have to deal with her. But she ended up coming into Kuwait and taking charge of our team there and our program, which she was vastly underqualified to do. So you have this tiny little person with a raging inferiority complex, right? And her answer to everything is to file charges against people. And when there's no charges to file, her way was to attack people. And again, this is from that Inspector General background where you're going after people almost like it's constant interrogation to try to like get them rattled and get information that they're doing something wrong or whatever. She treated everyone that way. And so working for her was absolutely not a picnic. our poor admin girl one time, she had her office door open and the admin girl just walked up and said, knock, knock, rather than knock on the door. And she spun around and gave her a lecture like, oh, you don't knock, knock me. Who the hell are you to say knock, knock to me? And she started going off, and then our lead guy had to get up out of his desk and run over and be like, ma'am, she's just trying to get your attention. Like, you know, and he's got to try to soothe over the situation, but just like anything she could twist into, I'm offended, you've attacked me, you've done something derogatory, and now I'm going to make you pay. She would do that. And so between Bill going to the lead guy and constantly saying like, oh, I think Kevin did this wrong, and I don't agree with the way Kevin did that, and blah, 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 and then going into her office and just putting those little whispers in her ear, those little like negative, oh, Kevin doesn't really work that hard, I see him looking at YouTube, whatever. And it was true. So what I would do, because I had 2 screens, I would put on like business leadership lectures and have that on one screen and then shrink it down and have it playing in my ear as I was working on other stuff. So everything from Richard Branson, Simon Sinek, just, I'm a big believer in ebooks and lectures and stuff like that to learn. And so I would be listening to that as I worked. But of course, to Bill, it was, oh, Kevin's not even working, he's using YouTube. So stuff like that was going on. And it just was the weirdest experience I can honestly say I've ever had as a contractor. So eventually, this lead lady in charge pissed off so many people, we actually got kicked out of our building, the whole team. And we had to pay the price for her screwing up. But basically, she decided she was going to go up against the GS-15, and that person basically had been in Kuwait like 10 years and was definitely the boss of that entire sort of building complex that we were in. And yeah, I don't know why she just took it in her head that she was going to go after that person, but that person then went to the general, because at GS-15 level, you're the equivalent of a damn colonel. So she went to the general and was like, you got to get rid of that lady and her team. I can't have her in the office bringing charges against all my damn people. She's effing crazy. So we got kicked out to a damn tent. And so we're in this damn tent now, and tents don't tend to hold out well against all the Kuwaiti sand and dust, and we used to call it moon dust. And you're in a tent, so now you've got porta potties outside instead of an actual freaking bathroom to use. And it's just a lot crappier conditions. Furthermore, the tent they kicked us out to, just to punish us, had in the back of the, we were in a shared tent, and we had 3/4 of it, but back in the back, there was some kind of like geospatial special analysis kind of unit with just 4 desks, 4, not 3, 4 desks, but those were SIPR computers, which is the Secure Internet Protocol. So they had secret access in it. Well, when that happens, when you are in the building, in an office with secret computers, computers with secret level access, you are not allowed to bring your electronic devices inside. So we all lost our phones as well at our desk. You had to lock them in a safe when you came into the building. And that friggin' sucked. So because of this lady, we were out in a tent, worst conditions, porta johns, and obviously working for her was no picnic to begin with, but now we're also like, none of us have our phones to like chat with home or like chat with some girls from Thailand, or I would get videos from Philippines like, oh hey baby, miss you, when are you coming back? Like that's the kind of shit that like makes you get through a hard job sometimes in the Middle East. And all that was gone now. Like, we would get up like every couple of hours and pull our phone out of the safe and look and text back to someone outside, but it just sucked. It really, really sucked. It was like the ugliest assignment ever, because this lady was a psychopath. And her first day on the job, she arrived, there was someone else in charge. This lady gathered, this is just a story to show how crazy she was. She gathered everyone in the office and was like, hello, I'm the new boss, and for the old boss, I would just like to say thank you very much. Your service is no longer needed. Go to your room, pack up, you go leave now. Do not come back in the office ever again. Thank you. I mean, it was like something you'd see Hannibal the Cannibal do after he'd just gotten his victim. Like, it was crazy, right? So this was my really ugly experience as a contractor, was between getting undermined again. Luckily I kind of caught it and was able to mitigate a lot of it, but at the same time, this crazy lady was in charge. So I put in my 2 weeks notice, and believe it or not, this lady was so crazy. When she got it, she was so incensed that I would leave that she banned me from the office. And so I literally was, just because I had put in my 2 weeks notice, like, hey, I'm just not the right fit here, I'm not happy, I'm gonna go get a different job. She was like, all right, take your stuff with you, you can never come back to the office. All right, you know, so in Kuwait, you know, it takes a couple weeks to out process and uncouple your passport from your work visa and all these kinds of things, and you require sponsorship and all that. So the last 2 weeks, I sat in my apartment every day working on Overseas Contractor Academy stuff. So it was just it was an ugly experience, but you know, you get through it, you learn from it, and now I just look back and laugh like that was some crazy, crazy shit. Okay, and that's gonna wrap it up here from Colombia. I have a feeling it's gonna be the last video I ever do in Colombia, or at least this trip, God only knows in the future, but yeah, I wanted to get these videos filmed. I'm gonna head back stateside soon, probably take a contract somewhere, but we'll see. I'll pick up the videos, I promise again, all right? So until next time, roll up your sleeves, get to work, get the knowledge, get overseas, build up some of that contractor money, and set yourself free, all right? See you next time.